Physiological needs: safety and security, love and belongingness, esteem. Long ago, Abraham Maslow created his hierarchy of needs, and the entire field of positive psychology shifted. Only the self-actualized, master of all four lower-level needs, could achieve the highest human state. But if you need Maslow to explain his theory now, too bad, he's dead. 53 years passed, and I've been reading a lot about his hierarchy of needs. And although his theory is great, there are a lot of nuances to discuss before you apply it to your life. However, I believe it's an important theory that can potentially help give your life direction. So what even is Maslow's hierarchy of needs? The short answer is, it is a model that divides the needs a human comes across in a stage-like order, consisting of physiological needs, safety and security needs, love and belongingness needs, esteem needs, and ultimately self-actualization. The characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender find themselves in situations in which each of these stages of need become their primary priority. In one episode, the Avatar gang find themselves stranded in the Si Wong Desert. Here, they are confronted by Maslow's first stage of need, physiological needs, specifically thirst. Here we encounter a major principle in Maslow's hierarchy of needs: lower-level needs take priority. Katara uses her bending water to help quench their thirst, even though that same water had been used against the swamp people from a previous episode, who likely do not know what a shower is. Here we see the gang sacrifice their needs of esteem for their physiological needs, which come first in the hierarchy. Sokka becomes so thirsty he even sacrifices his safety needs and risks all the possible health risks of drinking the quenchiest cactus juice of all.
I don't know.
Suit yourself. It's very thirst quenching, though. Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
At the beginning of the series, we see Katara and Sokka struggling with Maslow's second need in the hierarchy: safety and security. We see that the Southern Water Tribe has been desolated by Fire Nation raids, and many of the warriors have died in battle, leaving Sokka and Katara's village roughly defenseless. Because of the unmet safety need, the young boys of the tribe are used as the quote-unquote military defense. Consequently, Prince Zuko is able to raid the village unimpeded. The next two needs in the hierarchy are exemplified well through Prince Zuko. Zuko was exiled by his father, and his need for love and belonging was stripped away. He was banished under the condition to never be welcomed back until he captured the Avatar, a task thought to be impossible. Zuko was given a crew, a ship, and his uncle Iroh, who will be mentioned later, accompanied him. This meant that his basic physiological and safety needs were taken care of. However, his needs of love and belonging and personal esteem were taken from him. This led him to passionately pursue his goal of chasing the Avatar, as he believed this is the fastest way to fulfill those needs. Capturing the Avatar would allow him to rejoin his family and restore his honor as Firebender royalty.
Prince Zuko, you need some sleep. Even if you're right, and the Avatar is alive, you won't find him. Your father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all tried and failed.
Because their honor didn't hinge on the Avatar's capture. Mine does. This coward's 100 years in hiding are over.
However, Zuko learns throughout the story that this path is not the best way to fulfill these needs. Through building his relationship with his uncle and eventually joining Team Avatar, Zuko fulfills his need of love and belonging. Eventually, he even becomes the Fire Lord himself, a massive achievement that would easily fulfill his need for esteem. The final level of Maslow's hierarchy, self-actualization, is well represented by Uncle Iroh. At this level, all previous needs have been fulfilled, and one is free to pursue their full potential through internal drive. Unlike many of the other characters in Avatar, Iroh's outlook on life does not change much over the course of the show. Iroh has already achieved great things and realized that his joy does not come from achievements or domination, but from loving his family and a good cup of tea. Throughout the show, Iroh serves as a guide for many of the characters, helping them with advice during tough moments. Iroh is free from chasing fruitless pursuits, like capturing the Avatar in Zuko's case, because he has learned what is important to him.
I am so sorry and ashamed of what I did. I don't know how I can ever make it up to you, but How can you forgive me so easily? I thought you would be furious with me.
I was never angry with you. I was sad because I was afraid you lost your way.
While Maslow's hierarchy of needs has its uses, it is not without its flaws. In 2015, Sophie King-Hill pointed out that the hierarchy of needs is built with an individualistic perspective in mind. The research was based on the top 1% of achievers in academia who were focused on self-improvement. Cultures that lean towards collectivist societies are not well represented by the hierarchy of needs. Furthermore, that focus on the top 1% of achievers makes the hierarchy difficult to generalize to the broader population. King-Hill also mentioned that ranking of needs may vary with age, which Maslow neglected to address. In 2019, Joseph Gall pointed out that based on a study conducted in the educational field, it seemed that self-actualization was a prerequisite for esteem, rather than the opposite. The teachers who participated in the study rated their satisfaction with their esteem as worse than their self-actualization, suggesting an alternative order than Maslow suggests. Binna and Ramesh Soni draw a comparison between Maslow's hierarchy and the yogic chakra system. Many of the levels of hierarchy and chakra overlap. However, the Anahata chakra of the heart, based upon reaching high levels of love and compassion, is not well represented by the hierarchy. Although the hierarchy includes love and belongingness needs, there, the emphasis is placed on social connection rather than on compassion. This may be because Maslow based his research on elitist leaders who often lacked consideration of others. Binna and Ramesh argued that compassion and love should be considered essential in our needs hierarchy in order to promote healthy leadership in our societies. In 1981, Eugene Mathis conducted a study that tested the accuracy of Maslow's hierarchy using a rating system where participants reported answers to a would-you-rather type question that asked them to give up one item that belonged in one level of hierarchy or another in a different level of hierarchy. Based on these questions, we would expect people to prioritize items in lower categories. However, the research found little support for the 5 categories Maslow promoted. Mathis suggested a change to the model which promoted physiological, social, and self-actualization or spiritual needs. This model worked better with empirical evidence and corresponded to other psychological theories promoted by other esteemed psychologists, William James, Binswanger, Alderfer, and Kohlberg. In 2006, Zelensky and Raspa suggested Maslow's hierarchy of needs is better suited as a general framework rather than a determined rule system. Maslow also supported this notion in discussions after the release of his work. All that said, Maslow's hierarchy still has many applications. It has been used across many fields, including business, education, and the medical field. In 2012, Milheim argued that Maslow's hierarchy could be used as a framework in assisting teachers to create a more effective learning experience. Note that this was before the pandemic shoved online learning into the forefront of everyone's minds. In 2012, Bayomi showed a case of using Maslow's hierarchy on hemodialysis patients to identify their potential needs. It has also been argued by Benson in 2003 that the hierarchy could be a useful tool for the motivation of medical workers. In 1998, Michael Haggerty even applied Maslow's hierarchy to the development of nations and found national development to be well represented by the model. However, one issue I have with this study is that he used post-high school education as a representation of self-actualization. There are plenty of college or university students, or even graduates, who would not be considered self-actualized, so this measure may not be truly representative of self-actualization within a nation. The hierarchy of needs has also been used in hospice care to help patients recover and identify the next steps to reaching fulfillment in their final days. Finally, Lester and Associates found people who scored higher on their fulfillment of hierarchical needs were psychologically healthier than those with low scores. Overall, you can see why I said at the beginning that Maslow's hierarchy of needs has a lot of nuances to be discussed. It definitely has its flaws, but it has also done a lot of good, and I believe it is a good starting point for identifying what you want in life.